Good evening to you in Dakar and across the sub-region. Thank you for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and online on wadr.org. Welcome to the fourth and last edition of our special coverage of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. I'm Abdullah Hassan, and with me in the studio is my colleague, Imoredet.
All right, good evening to you across the sub-region, and it's so good to know that you are still here with us. Abdullah, it's been an amazing and incredible day.
Absolutely.
And, counting has started, and in fact, this is even the more tense period in Ghana right now, because people are, anticipating what would the result be, who's going to take the lead, what will happen.
And according to reports in a number of polling stations, residents there are still hanging out around the polling stations, making sure that the counting takes place in their presence and that their votes count.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's very key. When it comes to vote counting and sorting, this is the most crucial of all. People want to know, what the real figures are. Who's adding, who's subtracting. We want to see
winning.
Exactly who's winning.
And in certain areas, in the case of Nigeria, we know there are states where you know clearly that this state is PDP dominated.
Exactly.
That state is APC, and the other state is LP. So once result does not favor any of these parties that dominate this area,
it becomes a problem.
They begin to wonder or think that rigging has taken place, or you never tell. And according to Nadidi, during our last broadcast, she said for Ghana, oftentimes the voting process is peaceful. They never really have any problem with that. But where the problem begins to crop up is during the counting process. So. This is the best we know. Counting is underway in all 16 regions of Ghana and in over 44,000 polling stations where voting took place today. Even though voting did not commence in some of these polling stations, as at 7 a.m. that the EC had said voting will commence at least by 7:15. All polling stations open.
A large number of stations did open.
But overall, according to CODEO, an observatory body, there was a 66%.
Yes. Well, at least we got the highest, which is somewhere Ahofa and Bono East got the highest of polling stations opening as of 7:15 a.m.
They had 80%?
Yes, 80% from the statistics reeled out this afternoon by CODEO.
And just also to recall that the voting election across Ghana started peacefully until towards the late afternoon when we heard of pockets of violence here and there. And so far, we can confirm that at least one person has been confirmed killed, 4 others injured, and another 4 arrested and detained. And according to the police, they are helping with investigations. And one person so far is on the run, and he has been declared wanted.
Well, as the voting counting continues, electoral officials are urging.
Are you still voting?
No, I mean as counting continues.
Do you have people that are still voting?
As counting continues, the electoral officials are urging voters to be patient with the outcome, which is very key, and ensure that there is peace even after the announcement, because that's another thing.
And it's crucial.
Yeah, you can actually be calm now, but once the announcement is made, something could erupt, and that's why. After the closing of polls at 5 p.m., we saw the EC addressing the press, and they spoke about the election, how it went, and what we should be expecting. I think we have an excerpt from that, so we can take it.
Good evening, colleagues, directors. Good evening, friends from the media. By and large, God has been so good to us. We have brought proceedings to a close in terms of voting, and I want to indicate that by 5 p.m. About 95% of all polling stations close the polls by 5 p.m. Only areas where there were still voters in the queue after 5 p.m. that continue to vote after the time for closure of polls. Our BVDs performed effectively. Processing time for voters was reduced drastically. In fact, it was less than 3 minutes for a voter to be processed. So voters spent less than 3 minutes in processing. Voter turnout. The report richness indicates that it has been very massive. The elections have been seamless, devoid of the usual hassle that characterized previous elections. This we were able to achieve because we set up a strategy that ensures a smooth flow of the process. This includes the threshold at 750 and then the increase of polling stations throughout the country. In 2020, we had 38,622 polling stations, and this was increased this year to 40,648, a difference of 2,026 polling stations. So the usual congestion at the polling stations were reduced drastically. The process has been very peaceful, with the exception of 1 or 2 pockets of violence, which unfortunately resulted in the death of 1 person. It is unfortunate this should not have happened. Whilst you mourn with the bereaved family, we want to put it on record that this unfortunate act did not occur due to an action or inaction on the part of the Electoral Commission. Our staff, we appreciate them so much for the good work done, for the show of high level of professionalism. The agents have also cooperated well, ensure that the results you declare is the same as the results you announce is the same as what the Electoral Commission has declared. So kindly, all the time before you put your results in the public domain, kindly cross-check with the Electoral Commission. Our call center is there, our website is there, and anytime, any moment you call, we will respond to you and then give you the needed information. We are so grateful for you, and we wish you to continue to be with us throughout the exercise until we have declared finally the winners of this election. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, a commissioner, a representative of the EC, making a briefing just after the close of voting this 5 p.m. Well, the wait, like we mentioned earlier, the wait has started. We're all waiting, Abdullah, to see the final outcome of this election. What's going to happen? I mean, already some people are trying to play out what will happen. Like, you heard Mr. Cho mention the other time in the previous edition that we may likely see what played out in the U.S. election playing out, in the next couple of hours here. But again, it's also dicey. It's
very dicey. It's very dicey. But there's something which he said, which is very true. We've spoken to analysts and experts in Ghana over time. They all said the same thing. Ghana has this culture where it's straight up 2 times for each party.
They change you.
They change you. It is very unlikely, but then it is possible still that Bawumia may win. But it's for now, nobody can tell. But I think if they maintain that culture, then Bawumia, what's his name? Dramani Mahama of the NDC stands a better chance of winning. But right now, it's just too early to tell. And there are no indicators anywhere at all through our broadcast where anybody could really say for a fact that voters were leaned towards one candidate than the other in any polling stations. So
and that's why the
EC
in this press conference
is warning
and urging people don't publish results without confirming from the EC. And that's one thing that Well, it's another discussion for another day. And Mr. Cho had mentioned that should not be the case. I mean, it shouldn't be the case. You don't have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours before, we get to see what the figures are like. I mean, as you're counting there, people are, the Senegalese election is an example. And that was what caught the attention of the observers, some of the observers who haven't observed the Senegalese election before. They were amazed that people were getting the result right just 2 or 3 hours after the election.
Gambia has a very fair system too. I mean, because of the materials they use, the pebbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, their system is very transparent also, because even as a voter, should you be around after the closing of polls and counting commences in your presence, you can tell for a fact by the end of the day who has won or who is taking lead in your zone. And that way it's very easy for election observers and party representatives or anybody that's interested in collecting figures and tallying the figures to make sense of what is going on or how the whole process is progressing. So
they can tell you any day, I mean, the Gambian election, that their marble voting system is simple and for them it's the best. And for some of us who the first time we covered the Gambian election, we were actually surprised that, I mean, it looked,
marbles and the drum.
Yes, it looked a little bit weird, but by the time you now look at the simplicity and how it was very simple.
It's simple but very effective.
Yes, it was very, very simple. People could actually tell, okay, this person is leading at this point, this person is leading at that point. The same thing with the Senegalese election. I mean, moment the voting starts, you are already seeing it flying on WhatsApp, and these figures are verified. They are not doctored. So I don't know why the electoral commissions in Ghana, Nigeria are having issues in allowing the free flow of results. Because if you have people who are there counting and this is published, why are you worried? Must we have to wait and verify that this figures are
I mean,
right?
Worst case scenario is just to go back to the EC and cross-check the figures and correct if at all there's been any error recorded during transmission. But again, for Ghana, it will be different this year, Imo. I think if I'm not mistaken, so far they have over 1,000 observers. In fact, Codeo alone deployed 4,000. 4,000. ECOWAS deployed 120 short-term observers and another 20 long-term observers. And then you talk about other parties, you talk about the EU. So I think no matter how much of effort or planning goes into rigging, it will be very difficult, very, very difficult. It will be difficult because in almost all police stations now, we have observers who are there monitoring the process. So for all we know, this is going to be transparent at the end of the day. And all we hope for is that the results reflect the will of the people.
Indeed, people want a change, and this is one way of getting the change. They have voted, and now they are waiting for the figures, what the figures will say. And Abdullah, we talked about the some of the polls that were conducted by CSOs, election groups, and all of that. And if I even include in Afrobarometer, and a larger percentage tilted towards in favor of John Mahama, and that also boosted his own confidence. In the last interview he had with Western media, he was very confident. I mean, look at what the polls are saying. I can do this. But again, like you say, it's dicey. The same thing happened to Peter Obi. And then the polls were saying, yes, Peter Obi is going to win, Labour Party is going to win, because, online polls, all of that polls are showing that, yes, people are voting people will vote for him. But
and the mistake with Peter Obi is the fact that the online polls are by young people who half of them don't even have voters card.
Exactly, and not registered.
And they're not even registered, let alone having voters card. In the case of Ghana, all the videos we saw today, the pictures sent in by correspondents, we saw elderly people the most on queues. In fact, there was a woman there that we have a picture. She's 97 years old. She's still, despite of her health condition, went out there, voted because she wants change.
You need to be very painful, Abdullah, if such a senior citizen could make her way unaided to the polling booth and vote for you. Maybe you now win, and then you don't do what will positively affect that elderly person
to improve their living conditions.
Yes, a curse will follow you. And that's why you see some politicians will want to go 8 years. And Mr. Joe mentioned, if you are good, you don't need 4 years to make an impact.
4 years is good. 1 term is good.
Yes. I mean, why want to go another term? I mean, if you're effective and you know what you want to do, you need 2-3 years with the wherewithal around you. You can, change the fortunes of your citizens or the country.
It's not that easy. It's not that easy.
It is easy, Abdullah.
Sometimes the decay is so deep, and you take a whole while to
it will take a while, Abdullah. Yes,
rebuild the foundation.
It will take a while. I agree, Abdullah. It will take a while to rebuild if you had some favors while climbing to that part, because those who perhaps are responsible for these decays, you wouldn't want to fire them. You do not want to step on toes and fingers that fed you before you got to that part. And that is how the systems have been over the years. People, he's there, living. We'll change it when we get there, and then we'll still continue. You and I have discussed this over and over again. The Westerners, their problem is not just about. They don't look at infrastructure or electricity or healthcare. They are just little things, rights issues. The fact that, something we here will call flimsy, but in our own case, there are no electricity, the Doomsaw, no
good roads.
Look at it.
No hospitals.
Look at it. 4 years schools. In, 4 years out, it's still the same thing.
In fact, we've forgotten what is a key problem today in almost all countries of West Africa. Security. Security threat is far more than ever before, growing in scale and magnitude. Look at Ghana on 2 of its borders, or even 3 actually.
Yeah.
Burkina Faso. We've been reports of pocket of violence on the shared border between Ghana and Burkina Faso. And you can see the same also about Togo. So insecurity is shifting from the Sahel down to the coastal states, and Ghana is not spared. So there are issues really that whoever emerges as president and gets to form a new government will have to take seriously.
Well, let's join Tachi, who is online. And to bring us update. Albert, how you doing? Hello, Tachi. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Can you?
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes. Can you move closer to your microphone? You're sounding a little bit far off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay now.
Yes, it's better. Sorry for apologies for keeping you waiting online. So
Okay.
as counting comments at your end.
Yeah, so right now, from what you've gathered here, it seems that the current incumbent parliamentary candidate for the NDC at Ventias, I'm talking now, is leading the vote from the provisional vote list we've gotten. Is leading the vote currently. But we are heading to the coalition center where the EC representative here will announce the final verdict. But from the provisional list we are getting right now, the incumbent is still leading the vote right now. It seems he can retain his seat in Ventias.
Well, so what have been the reactions of the party agent? Has there been any issue or any resistance or rejection of this result?
No, for the EC representative here has not declared its final result, so we are still anticipating, and everybody is in enjoyment mood, both the incumbents as party members and the opposition, all their party members, they are in a rejoicing mood, they are in an optimistic mood, and everybody is hoping for the best. But from what we have gathered and the provisional results, it seems the incumbent parliamentary candidate for Wenchi is likely to retain his seat, but we will get the final verdict from the electoral representative, the EC representative for Wenchi here. He will declare he declare the final result for us so that we will get everything clear.
And when would that be? In the next 24 hours, 48 hours, or 72 hours? What's the standard for the electoral code?
It's likely the results might come in this evening. It's likely the results might come in this evening because they started collating all the results from the different polling centers. So it's likely he will declare the results tonight. So let's just by 8 a.m. in the morning, we shall have a winner for Wenchi constituency for the parliamentary race.
Well, Techi, just give us a brief summary of the voting process today across Wenchi and especially some of the voting or polling stations you visited. How different is this as election compared to 2020? What was different and unique about this as process?
Yeah, one unique thing about this election 2024 is that the strongest vote of the incumbent parliamentary, the other opposition is trying to go within head-to-head at the major, the place I'll call like his major. He's trying to go in within head-to-head there, and he's trying to get a quite number of voters there, because compared to last year and this year, he has increased his number of votes at the stronghold of the incumbent parliamentary. So for other areas where the NPP also have their strongholds, the incumbents is also entering there, also gaining a quite number of votes there. But still, in the major areas of the incumbent parliamentary, he's still getting quite a number over the opposition. But still, they are trying to gain votes there, in which is going in their favor.
Well, amazing.
Well, very well. How soon, this counting now, is it for the parliamentary votes, or when are we expecting that of the president?
Well, the president, it could be declared, although, but because the parliamentary is very near to us and we have the exact number when the EC representative declares, I think he'll get the final results for the parliamentary. But for the presidential, I think it will be headed to the national, where it will be collated and decided upon who is the actual winner of the 2024 election. But for the parliamentary, I think he can collect all the results from the other polling centers and can declare it within the next 24 hours.
Indeed. Well, Tachi, thank you so much for your time and bringing us up to speed with the latest update from Wenchi there. Thank you so much, Tachi. Yeah, we do have Gideon on the line.
From the Greater Accra.
Yes, Gideon.
Augustine says we lost network issues.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try and reconnect.
Well, it's so good to know that towns like or areas like Wenchi, people are not really stressing themselves in terms of whether there's going to be violence in the counting process, and it looks very easy. And like I said, maybe before midnight, the EC rep or the commissioner could declare who the winner is in that constituency. And if it goes like that across, that means by, say, this time tomorrow, we could get almost 80% of the result in.
80?
Yeah, if it goes like this, by this time tomorrow,
yes,
we can get
most likely.
Yeah, a larger chunk of the results coming in.
Okay, so Gideon is back on. Hello, Gideon. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you today?
Today has generally been good. The elections here in the southern part of Greater Accra has generally been peaceful, and so it's good to have a peaceful election in the south, but somewhere parts of the central and the north, it is flooded with some violent situations.
Well, before we go into discussion about the counting process, do you still have water running through the taps, as reported earlier in the morning?
It ended flowing around 11 thereabout, and so people couldn't fetch anymore after 11.
And so they had to let go of that struggle to go vote, right? Did it work? Any magic regarding turnout?
It didn't actually. It didn't at all. In fact, the turnout has been very low. The results we've been having so far provisionally are still affirming that indeed the turnout generally is low.
Would you say the tap water that came out after several months was as a strategy to get the people that were working of some sort? Is that it?
Obviously, it could be a strategy to get people's mind tuned back to for some reasons. But it seems people may have already made their minds not to give in to any enticing or lucrative strategy to get them vote for just a day. I spoke to some people who say they've been voting for years and nothing has changed in their lives. They come, tell them lies, they vote, and things are always the same. They trusted and believed a government, but they come and nothing changes. And so this time around, they have decided to also stay somewhere and have their peace.
Well, is it going to get better among this category of people who, I'm sorry to say though, have lost any hope in government?
I think so. It will depend on the next government that may be formed here in Ghana, taking proactive measures to ensure that the inclusive, even sharing of the national cake is prioritized. And things are not taken for granted, because no matter what you do in the last days of election, people will still not have the interest to go how much they are enticed with money whatsoever, because it is rumored that some parties are sharing money to people to entice them, but still people are not going. I reported to my local radio here in Adan. I spoke to some few youths who came from another part of the capital called Ashaiman. It's about an hour and a half drive to Adan. They came all the way from Ashaiman to Adan to vote, and they were promised transport reimbursement, but they came. And there seemed to be no one who will be responsible for their transport reimbursement. So they declined going to the polls until they get the money for their transport back. So they didn't go to vote. I tried encouraging them about their civic right, but they insist they came purposely because they were
at that point. The money was more important. It was more important.
At that point.
Well, Gideon, have they started counting the votes in your locality there?
Most of the polling centers have finished counting. I am currently standing at the coalition center in the Adan East district. At the coalition center here, the parliamentary results will be declared, and then the other results will be sent to the region, and region will also share back to national before it will finally be declared by the national, by the Commissioner of Electoral Commission for the presidential elections. And so for the parliamentary, here is where it will be announced. Latest by 12 a.m., all centers should be gathered here, submitting their poll results so that it could be collated, and then the parliamentary will be announced here. So I see a number of police officers who have been with to all the centers coming here. It's like a mini party here now. because a lot of people are coming here to see who is finally going to be the MP. But there are indications that the provisional results that we have monitored so far indicate that it's very tight. There are two candidates who are contesting for the seat here. The incumbent is likely to win, but she may win with a slight margin. You know, the parliamentary results is not, it's just simple majority. And so with any slight margin, it's believed that she may be retained. But this time I will not be like 4 years ago, where she garnered 27,000 votes, and the opposition NPP then, the ruling party then, candidate got 5,000. So a difference about a margin of 22,000 4 years ago. This time around, the contest is very tight. We are seeing so far.
All right, Gideon, thank you so much for your update.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we do have Eche on the line, Abdullah.
Yes, we have Eche. Eche.
Yes. Hi, Abdullah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm here with Imo.
Hi, Imo as well.
Eche, what's the latest from your end?
Well, as you may already know, there are a number of polling centers that are, by now, many of the results in most of the polling centers are being announced because counting is concluding in a lot of places. So there are several polling centers that have already announced their figures. Okay. But you must know that there are well over 40,000 polling centers across the country. So individually, the results are being announced, but then the eventual collation would need done. So possibly before this, when I say the day, I'm referring to maybe around midnight of the sort. That's when we would know proper when those who and who is won, especially for parliamentary. After the presidency, we know it's the electoral commissioner who will do that. She is the returning officer, and the elections can only be called by the electoral commissioner, which we hope, all things being equal, either tomorrow or latest by Monday, we should have those results coming in. But the interesting bit too is that the political parties also do their own collation. So already what we are gathering from a lot of the places, especially for the members of parliament, many of them are declaring themselves winners because they are able to tell because they had polling agents at each of these polling centers across the country. So their agents had already given them their numbers, and most of these politicians, these MPs, and the presidential candidates have what they call their own collation centers. So they are able to put together their numbers quickly to determine how well or not they did. So a lot of them are announcing their victories. Those who are quiet, well, possibly did not do so well. But again, as for the parliamentary results, we would know for a number of places, the indications are clear by now. You can tell who's winning or not. There are the big fishes who are falling. There are new people who are also upsetting some of the big names in parliament. But when it comes to the presidentials, we're only hoping that possibly on Monday, at the latest, because tomorrow is when all the electronic transfers from all the constituencies, the regional collation centers would have been transferred to the National Collation Center here in Accra. So Monday, possibly, if the Electoral Commission is able to work as quickly as possible, then we should be able to have that. Otherwise, maybe it will run into Tuesday. So, I mean, so far, those are the things that are happening. This is when tensions are exactly very high because by now, people are massing up at collation centers because they want to be there to hear the final results for their regions or their polling or their constituencies, I must say. And so that's when tensions will be brewing. I've heard from a few places where people have called for recounting, which is permissible by the law.
Already?
Yes, people are asking for recounting in a number of those places. So that's basically what's happening. Yes, we've not heard anything beyond what I have mentioned so far about the general outlook of the process now that polls have ended.
The mood of the people, how is it at this point? I know that one can clearly say the waiting game starts now because, as you mentioned, it may take like 24 hours or 72 hours before we can really get a good grip as to what the exact result will be. What's the mood like with the people, especially those that maybe you have called, you've spoken to? How and what is the level of anxiety or anticipation?
Highly.
Yeah, anticipation.
Well, the anticipation is really high. Especially here in Ghana, beyond politics, people would say football is the other thing, but politics is a big thing for many people. So people are really anticipated in high spirits. And there's a reason I mentioned earlier that tensions are also high in a lot of places because now that they're massing up and when the numbers keep coming in, when the countings are going on and things like that, well, it gives people such high anticipations. But many people, for the better part of the evening, are comporting themselves, at least, even though they are listening to the results coming in from the various collation centers. Their comportments are quite okay. We haven't heard so much of incidences yet. I must say yet, because there's still so many places that we're yet to get results from. And it's around this time that the work of the security services is really, really needed because now the crowds are bigger, the tensions are higher. And it's late. And it's late. So you can imagine, coupled with all of these things, it's in the evenings. And I must quickly mention that there have been reports of a number of places where there are power outages. Now it's in the evening, whilst counting is going on, then the lights in the area goes out. And for many people, it's an opportunity for people to rake and things like that. At least I can confirm more than 5 places where lights have gone out whilst counting is going on. So those are some of the things going on. And I'm saying that it's a time that the work of the police force, the other security services who are supporting the Ghana Police Service is really needed. So yes.
So do you think overall, Eche, that this is going to inform a new security measure by the police and of course the joint security architecture?
I don't think that will be the case entirely, because if you look at the track record of the current Inspector General of Police, he has such a good track record when it comes to election management. At least this is his first major national election, but he has also superintended over some very crucial elections, which we call by-elections, in the past. Those ones were highly staked, but his men, together with his direction, were able to quell all those situations. So his track record coming into this has been great. So far, we've not had any incidences that the police or the managers of the security have not been able to handle. So I want to just believe that based on the precedents that have been set with him, and he's one of the police chiefs that is highly respected amongst across the political divide. And so, yeah, we hope that what we know them for, and the police service in the last few years has been very proactive. So we're hoping their presence too has been felt quite, it's been felt a little, I must say. So people are hoping that they're able to manage things and bring the situations so much under control. Maybe just a little upgrade would be necessary after a year.
And overall, what do you make of the polls before the election? Do you think any of them is going to, at the end of the day, stand out and for Ghanaians to say, well, indeed, this particular poll or that poll was right from the start?
If you're referring to the overall as in the presidential,
yes,
I would say that, yes, I would say that the presidential, it's always a tricky one. Today, we've recorded, at least from what we have seen from the media, low voter turnouts. And so if this is a close call, then there could be a runoff election, which will happen some 30 days or so after. That is if any of the candidates doesn't get a 50+1%. So that's what it looks like. Either of the two political parties are going around. I have seen posts on social media where people from the incumbent party are already announcing how many seats they've won. Technically, they can't tell, but I mean, the propaganda is going on from there. So everyone is there. You'll hear from people how much they want to change, and we hear from people equally how much they want a continuation of the current government or the current political party. But take note that in Ghana, since 92, from the current republic, the most stable republic we've had since 92, no political party has been able to secure 3 consecutive election wins. It's always been 2 times. So if the current government, led by the MPP, are able to do that, they will be making history. So the anticipations are high. And the opposition, the major opposition, the NDC, doesn't want that to happen. So we'll see. People say Ghanaians never allow a third term, but
there's a first half for everything, right?
Hopefully by possibly. We don't know whether for.
Okay then.
But we'll see how it goes.
Well, thank you very much, HA, for your time all through from the start of our first broadcast as early as 7 a.m. until now, and with the hour-to-hour update and all of these briefs across our social media pages. Thank you and well done.
Thank you.
Well, we do have Edwin on the line. Edwin, how's it at your end there?
Good evening, Imo, if I'm right.
Yes, this is Imo.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Are the numbers coming in yet?
Yeah, the numbers are coming in from the police station. We are still moving from police station to police station, so we are getting some figures from the polling stations though.
Okay.
We haven't gotten to the collation center yet, so we are preparing to go to the collation center. That's where we can now get all the results that are now coming in, and they'll be collating it to give us the final results. But we are looking to read that at the time that the final results will be coming, it will go deep late in the night, maybe around 10 or 12 thereabouts. So, but so far so good. In Damango constituency, I haven't heard of any incident that is a bad incident, that is any chaos or fighting issues. Luckily enough, I'm just coming from a village, very remote area that there wasn't network, but I just got to a place that network came and you were able to call and get me. So I'm yet to get into the town and see the atmosphere of the town as well. But coming from the remote areas, it has been peaceful and calm there. We've gotten some place and they were collating. Results were also coming in from some other platforms too. That I wished I could give you the breakdown of them, but my other colleague is with them. But I don't know whether time will permit me to go through that and give you the list or the breakdown of them.
Well, if you can, maybe quickly. Go ahead.
Okay. But it's based on polling station to polling station.
Okay.
Would that be good for you?
Well, maybe you can just give us maybe a summary of what these figures are like. Are we seeing more from the ruling or the incumbent, or what does the stats saying?
Right now, it's like pull and pull. All of them are chasing each other very gradually. Because you will see that one police station will come in and the other one is leading, and the other one, the other police station will come in, another one, the other person is also leading. So the margin is not like always like 100 or just always like 10, 15, 10, 15, 20 or 30. So they are just pulling each other when it comes to the parliamentary candidates here. But when it comes to the presidential side, the NDC, the National Democratic Congress, is leading here with a lot, because that is the land, the
stronghold.
So definitely, yeah. So definitely, you will get fingers that the NDC presidential candidate will be leading the MPP presidential candidate. So all the independent and the other candidates, I think we are not recording any huge numbers. The least we see is 1, 2 for them. And it's only one party that will come in as one. You get a one person voting for you, 2 people voting for you. The highest I've seen is 2, no 3 or no 5 is itself. So this is the breakdown that I can give for now. But right now, when it comes to the parliamentary side, it's very keenly, it's keenly so unpredictable unless the final results come in. Then we can then say that this person is gearing towards victory.
Well, just before we let you go, Edwin, we spoke to HA in Accra, and he said over there in Accra, he has received report that at least 5 polling stations, just while they were counting the vote, power went out. And so I'm just concerned that Damango, somewhere in the northern region, Savannah, may be facing more severe problems in terms of power supply. And so what is the situation there, and how do you think power outage, if at all, it occurs, will affect the counting process?
That's a very good question. I wanted to add that, but it escaped me. So coming from the more area, some of the places there's not electricity connectivity over there. So the challenge is that also they said that at some places the EC was supposed to provide lantern or light, touch light that could provide light to these people to count, but it was unfortunate to in most of the rural communities that I've been to, or polling stations that I've been to, the EC didn't provide light. So it was the residents, they have to go inside and bring their own electricity or their own light to help the EC to count the results freely and fairly. This is what I can report for now. So the EC, I don't know what came up and they couldn't provide that like electricity, especially those who are going to remote areas. The norm is always that they are supposed to provide, but I don't know. The officials themselves were complaining that why those gadgets were not inside.
Okay then, thank you very much, Edwin, all the way from Damango, Savannah region, Ghana. We appreciate your update this very evening, and be sure to keep providing us with the update and any other development as they unfold. And we have those on radio and, of course, on our social media platforms. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, that was Abdullah talking, but all the same, thank you guys for the update and sending all of that in. Well, we do have Ibrahim on the line in Greater Accra. Ibrahim, it's nightfall there in Ghana, or where you are. How are they managing electricity as counting is ongoing?
Okay, Imo, here in the Greater Accra region, we've not had any issues of interruption in electricity The coalition now, the ballot papers and everything have been moved to coalition centers at each constituency, where the results from each polling station will be collated, and then the announcement of who has won that particular constituency will then be made. The parliamentarian who has won will be declared the parliamentarian elect for that constituency, and then the presidential will also be collated and then transferred to the regional for further collation to the national. So in Greater Accra, we've really not faced any problem of interruption in power supply at all at any polling station so far.
Well, I guess the tension must be high right now as people are waiting to see what the figures will be telling them in the coming hours.
Yes, the tensions at the moment are very high, and the opposition supporters believe they are in a lead at the moment. So you will see some kind of excitement from some opposition supporters, but their leadership have not said anything yet, and so it means nothing is confirmed yet. Scattered results are just coming out on social media, not confirmed results, provisional results on social media, indicating that one party has won in this constituency and one has lost here. So the results which are coming at the moment are not confirmed at the moment. They are just results that probably some constituents have picked up at their polling station or at their area, and they are sharing on social media, and so the tensions are high. The ruling party supporters at the moment are managing their expectation. You don't see them make any comments at the moment, but you can see that the opposition party supporters believe that their candidate is in a comfortable lead and he's going to win the election. So that's the mood at the moment in the Greater Accra region. If you even watch social media, that's the mood that you can gauge.
Amazing. And what do you fear is the potential of this developing or manifesting, a different reality if it is left unchecked now that you have different results by at least the two major parties, MPP and NDC, all over social media?
Yeah, so it's always been a challenge in this social media era for elections. And so you will have institutions like Kodeo and also Fact Check Ghana who are always on social media trying to debunk fake news and also misinformation online. So the results that are not accurate, you will have some civil society groups and media houses trying to debunk them. But a lot of people are seated by their televisions monitoring local media, televisions and radio stations, and monitoring the results on local media, and that is what they are judging their excitement or not on. But it's of course very dangerous when these results are scattered around social media. These unconfirmed results are scattered around social media. But so far, we've not heard of any major incident anywhere about any fake results. But all the results which are coming in are not confirmed yet. We are expecting that by midnight, we'll have a reality of which party has won many parliamentary seats, and then which one has also lost a lot of parliamentary seats. So by midnight or by 2 a.m. local time, we should be expecting that local media will be able to probably make projections on which candidate is in the lead.
You have any question for Ibrahim before?
Well, I think there's a whole lot we have to wait for. There's so much. I mean, he has said it. We just have to wait to see what the figures will be saying in the coming hours. Ibrahim, thank you so much for the update.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it. Abdullah, over to you.
Thank you, Imo. And I guess this is where we draw the curtains on this edition of our special podcast of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. It's been a whole day of broadcast, quality information, reporting, live calls and interviews, both in English and French, and across social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I mean, we've done so much to keep you informed and updated about the elections in Ghana, even when you are not there. At least right now, you know that you have been informed and you can talk about it with all authority because you heard it first here on WADR, West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM, and also live on wadr.org. Imo.
Yeah, many thanks to you out there for your time, and we do appreciate. In the coming days, in the coming hours, there will be more update from the election. Counting is ongoing. By tomorrow, Monday morning, we should be able to bring you concrete figures from the counting and the precise fact from the Electoral Commission. So, thank you all again for your time.
And I am Abdullahi Hassan. Many thanks to the production crew, Maudou Diouf, Mustafa Sek, Krista Mukidi, the web department, Francis Boniface, Michael, Augustine Collet, Christopher Ticho, Ogio Birika, of course, the coordinator, Sani Momunisebu, and all thanks to the management, the station director, Agnes Tomasi, the finance department, everybody. We thank you for your contributions for making this coverage a success. The Accra team, Nadidi, HRTSU, thank you all. Imo.
All right, many thanks.
Many thanks.
It's time to say good night.
It's time to say good night, right? Okay, then we'll be doing this. Do follow our news editions, like Imo said, tomorrow, of course, Monday, Tuesday. As the stories unfold, we'll have them come to you. Thank you.